Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this. You know, every single time the seasons start to change and the weather gets, well, unpredictable, the biggest dread in so many households is the onset of that persistent, lingering cough. And trying to find a way to soothe it, something that's safe and actually works, it can literally feel like trying to solve an impossible puzzle. But today, we're going to dissect the hard science behind a super common garden plant. It's known as Indian borage. Through real medical data, we're going to see exactly how a humble, fuzzy little leaf from your backyard can actually go toe-to-toe with those expensive, chemical-heavy pharmacy cough syrups.
Now honestly, ask yourself, do you absolutely dread the changing seasons? Are you just completely exhausted by those stubborn winter coughs that seem to drag on for weeks? You know the kind. They usually lead you straight back to the doctor's office for yet another round of antibiotics. It's such a frustrating cycle, right? We kind of get conditioned to think the only way to fight off winter bugs is with heavy-duty pharmaceuticals. But what if the solution has just been sitting outside in a pot on your porch this whole time?
Here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. First, the nemesis of coughs. Then, decoding with science. Third, how it's not just cough medicine. Fourth, we'll get into making the syrup at home. And finally, some crucial notes and preservation tips. All right, let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1. The nemesis of coughs.
So for centuries, traditional medicine has really revered this leafy green, Indian borage, as an absolute warrior against respiratory issues, sore throats, you name it. But why? Well, the really crucial thing to understand here is that this traditional success, it's no folk myth. It is hard chemistry. When you actually extract the essential oil from these thick, fuzzy leaves, you find that over 65% of it is made up of insanely potent phenolic compounds. These are highly active chemicals the plant uses to defend itself, and at that concentration, they pack a massive, massive therapeutic punch.
And modern medicine is totally on board with this traditional wisdom. Dr. Wen Xuanquang, for example, points out that the plant's spicy, warm nature basically acts as a natural antibiotic. Because it's absolutely loaded with those phenolic compounds, it works as a highly effective antibacterial agent. It smoothly and gently clears out germs and thick phlegm, completely bypassing those harsh side effects you normally get from synthetic drugs.
Moving on to Section 2, decoding with science. Now, it's one thing to talk about how it's been used for generations, but let's actually look at the hard data. Researchers at Canto University ran the numbers, and the breakdown of the plant's essential oil is pretty stunning. You have this one hero compound, carvacrol, that completely dominates the mix at 69%. I mean, it leaves the runner-up, Simone, way behind at just 9%. Carvacrol is the absolute star of the show. It's the primary engine driving the plant's massive germ-killing power and its ability to break up stubborn mucus.
And just to illustrate how ridiculously strong carvacrol is, researchers proved that this high concentration allows Indian borage oil, even when it's heavily diluted, to defeat some incredibly tough pathogens. We're talking about inhibiting intestinal bacteria like E. coli. It stops Staphylococcus aureus right in its tracks. That's a nasty bacteria known for skin and respiratory infections. It literally even eliminates Candida albicans, a really stubborn fungus. So we're looking at truly broad-spectrum, undeniable antimicrobial power here.
All right, Section 3. Not just cough medicine.
Okay, so if we just look at Indian borage as a cough drop, we are totally underestimating it. It's more like a botanical Swiss Army knife. Its chemical makeup actually turns it into a comprehensive full-body healing tool. For instance, if you have a fever, it stimulates sweat to help bring down your temperature and flush out toxins. Thanks to those antibacterial properties we just talked about, it wipes out bad breath and heals painful mouth ulcers incredibly fast. But wait, there's more. It's surprisingly rich in vitamin A, which protects your eyes from strain. And it even acts as a natural diuretic to help your kidneys run smoothly. It is just a stunningly versatile little plant.
Which brings us to Section 4, making syrup at home.
We know the science now, but how do we actually get these healing compounds out of the leaf and into a sweet, drinkable syrup that a kid might actually swallow? Well, before we get to the recipe, I need to issue an absolutely critical, life-saving warning about sweeteners. When you make this at home, rock sugar is your best friend. It's completely safe for all ages and gives it this clear, lovely sweetness. On the flip side, and this is so important, do not use honey if you're giving this to an infant under 1 year old. Even though honey has great antibacterial traits, there is a strict medical rule against giving it to babies due to a very real risk of fatal infant botulism. Never, ever use honey for a baby's syrup. Please keep that safety rule top of mind.
So, summarizing the source data we've covered, the key takeaways from making this safely are super clear.
We have the potent antibacterial power of carvacrol anchoring the remedy, the absolute necessity of those infant safety guidelines regarding honey we just discussed, and a fantastic 6-month shelf life for the final product, which is huge, and we'll talk about exactly how to achieve that in a second.
Okay, let's walk through Dr. Kwong's super simple 3-step basic recipe. Step 1. Grab 10 fresh Indian borage leaves and 5 fresh kumquats. Crucial pro tip here though, make sure you remove the kumquat seeds. If you don't, your final syrup is going to be incredibly bitter. Step 2. Lightly blend the leaves, the kumquats, and 100 grams of rock sugar. Just pulse it. Do not puree it into a fine paste or it'll get cloudy and be a nightmare to filter. Step 3. Put the mixture in a bowl and steam it in a water bath for about 30 minutes. Once it's done, just filter out the solids and you are left with this gorgeous golden syrup packed with essential oils. The whole shebang takes less than an hour.
Now, what's really great is how adaptable this is depending on who's sick. If you're treating an infant under 1, skip the blender and the kumquats entirely. Just crush a few leaves, add a tiny bit of rock sugar, and steam it for a mere 5 minutes. Super gentle, super safe. But if you're battling one of those heavy-duty chest-rattling coughs with thick phlegm, you need a stronger extraction. Throw some chives and fresh ginger into the mix and steam it for a full 60 minutes to pull out every last drop of those essential oils.
Finally, Section 5. Notes and preservation.
Okay, so you've made your magical syrup. How do we keep it potent? Well, first off, you can absolutely make large batches to save yourself time, because this stuff lasts up to 6 months. But to actually hit that 6-month mark, you've got to store it in the fridge in a tightly sealed glass jar. And here is the absolute golden rule for preserving it. Every single time you serve it, you must use a completely dry, perfectly clean spoon, no exceptions. Literally, even 1 drop of outside moisture or saliva can ruin the entire batch. Now, before we cover the dosage, we kind of need to completely reframe our perspective on being sick. Medical professionals really emphasize this. Coughing is actually a healthy, necessary reflex. Its entire job is to push out the trash, the mucus, the dead bacteria, all that phlegm. We always tend to panic at the first sound of a hack, but mild coughing really shouldn't be immediately suppressed. Your body is just doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
And because this is a completely natural remedy, let's set some realistic expectations. It's not going to magically shut down a cough in 10 minutes like a chemical suppressant would. You really should only intervene with the syrup when the cough is actively disrupting sleep, eating, or making someone sick. As for the dosage, you want to drink the syrup 3 to 5 times daily, mixed into some warm water. Generally, you're going to see a noticeable drop in coughing by day 3, and it should clear up by day 5. Now, obviously, if there's absolutely no improvement after 5 days, you definitely need to consult a doctor.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. From an impressive 69% carvacrol concentration acting as a totally natural antibiotic, to a simple homemade syrup that literally lasts half a year, the science is pretty undeniable. It kind of leaves us with a fascinating thought to chew on. Was the ultimate winter respiratory weapon just hiding right out there in your backyard all along? Thanks so much for joining me for this deep dive into the healing power of the natural world. Keep learning, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next explainer.